Welcome, everyone. I want to share here on the third Sunday of Easter a few reflections. Two sad and lonely people are walking on the road to the town of Emmaus. Jesus comes up alongside them, but they do not recognize him. He asks them what they're talking about, and they ask him if he has not heard of the tragic demise of Jesus, whom, quote, we had hoped would redeem all of Israel. That phrase, we had hoped. Pastor Heidi Newmark got me thinking this week about how many things there are that we individually or collectively had hoped. These are some of the hopes I've heard, and I invite you to add to the list. Maybe even take out a piece of paper and pen. We had hoped that we wouldn't have to live through a pandemic. We had hoped to hang out with family and friends in our faith community, sharing in everyday laughter and tears and communion. We had hoped that our jobs wouldn't be furloughed or lost. We had hoped to graduate from high school, college, or graduate school in reality, not virtually. We had hoped to be at the bedside of an aunt, cousin, son, dad, grandmother when they died, or at least be able to bury them in person. We had hoped for peace in our world and sanity to regain its foothold in the minds and hearts of our government leaders and all of us as citizens. We had hoped that not so many people would have to suffer and so many people die. Now over 20,000 in New York State and over 200,000 worldwide. We had hoped. Indeed, we might all add our I had hoped right here. If you don't do it now, maybe later, write it down. And then give ourselves room to be human and feel grief and fear and loneliness and even maybe a sense of God's absence, because in the midst of tragedies such as this world knows, it can be hard not to feel God's absence. Yet Jesus was right there alongside those two folks walking to Emmaus, and Christ is right here alongside us in this world. So maybe, even as we are grieving, maybe we might begin in our hearts and minds, bodies and souls and lives to turn that phrase from we had hoped to we are hoping. Remember, the people among whom Jesus had been teaching and healing and explaining exactly what must happen, even those closest to him, do not recognize Jesus in his resurrected form. Here on the road to Emmaus, as they huddled in the upper room, or when they'll be fishing in the lake, Jesus must do the revealing work for them and for us. Jesus must declare, peace be with you. And Jesus must break the bread and share the fishes in order for our eyes to see the reality of this long story of God's saving love rushing through history to the epicenter of grace that is God in Christ, crucified, died, buried, and raised for the forgiveness of and saving of the world. Jesus must reveal to us what has taken place. So maybe if we find ourselves grieving, lonely, doubting, or in fear, or even feeling God's absence, we should not worry. All that is taking place now in our lives in the world will not be the end, because God's love through Christ will not end. So we declare that we are hoping. We are hoping for an end to these current tragedies and for healing that not only brings us all back to life, but into resurrected life, where families are reconciled and governments are built to serve the common good, prisons are emptied as lives are refashioned and groceries and running water are available for all people, and we graduate from the infancy of our existence as we have known it into a maturing faith and wisdom in Christ. Oh, my friends, we are hoping. Till the next time.